look, going back to the first fight, I knew this one would be a good fight. Like they slugged out the first one. I agree with you, Zay. I had Charlo slightly in that first one, but to his fault, he left it open to be close. But I'm glad. I'm glad of the outcome, and I'm glad his game plan worked out. Now he can move on from this, and then hopefully stay on that track and be the talented fighter that he can be.
Now you are home. Think of you there.
It's not my bad. We don't ever put it up because it covers up people's faces and whatnot.
Well, not the new one. Look, I fixed it. It doesn't cover up anything.
Okay,
All right.
Cool.
Yes.
Yeah, we can see you, Jacob. Get off the screen, man.
Uncle Brian's talking about you. Yeah. All right. Okay. So we didn't even do the ticker either. Wow.
Sure didn't.
Wow. All right. We're here to talk about this. Jermell Charlo. Did I spell Jermell's name right? I asked you that before.
Yes.
Jermell Charlo defeats Brian Castaño. Listen, that was a great fight. The first fight, if you guys didn't watch the first fight, it was a draw. And going back and looking at it, I think that was a fair score. The draw outcome. I honestly, when I first watched it, I was like, I think Castaño kind of took that. But going back and watching it again, yeah, I think a draw. Even a little bit leaning towards Charlo in that fight because he finished like the last 4 rounds pretty strong. He just started slow and like times where he could have hurt Castaño, he didn't finish. This fight, he said, I'm gonna be a lot more aggressive. And of course, Castaño is always aggressive. So, what do you get out of that, man? You get a fight. And they're going at it, man, and neither one of them backed down. I think what worked in Charles' favor this time was that not only did he not let Castaño back him down, like he never let him push him back to the ropes. Right, that was Castaño's thing in the first fight. Like once he got him on the ropes, he go off on him, and Charlo would never let him. Like if Charlo back up a little bit, like it would never get to a point where he get on the ropes. He fought through it and kept the fight, towards the center of the ring, and they banged it out. And then like around the 7th round, I want to say, once they they snapped each other's head back a few times, Charlo switched it up and started boxing him and started moving around and doing those things that he was doing in the first fight. Except this time, Castaño didn't have the energy, right? Charlo committed more to the body in this fight, and that paid dividends in the later rounds. You could see, and Castaño just couldn't keep up with them. And then the 10th, man, that left hook that put him down. I think that's just a combination of all the shots that he took, and his body just said, "Yo, I can't do anymore, no more." And he just went down. Now he went down, and that probably should have been the fight, but the ref let him get back up, and Charles finished him off after that. Probably not necessary, but I kind of understand. Like, hey, man, you came this far. You got a couple more rounds left. Let's see if you can survive this round and get through it. But you probably could have called the fight after he got knocked down.
He should have. There were multiple points in that fight where at the end of the round you could see that Castaño was fatiguing. He didn't have, like, he wasn't as fresh. He was breaking down. He was still fighting. He's still coming forward, still being aggressive, but you could see that he was wearing out. And the left hook that Charlo landed, I mean, he kind of just slumped down, and it didn't look good, right? He collapsed a little bit and just, I think that probably should have been the end. And he wasn't steady on his feet when he got back up either. And as soon as the ref kind of said, go ahead and fight, he was running. He was trying to run away from Charlo, and he got hit a few more times and went down again. That was it. But yeah, I think that was a tough spot for the ref because you're 10 rounds in. It's been a slugfest. He's been landing a lot of clean shots on Charlo all night long, and he went down, but it wasn't like he was knocked out. You know, he went down to a knee, and he was able to get back up. So yeah, I mean, I see why he let it go, but I mean, I think it was clear at that point he was done.
Yeah.
And it was like a delay, right? Like, you know, he hit him, and then it took a second before it's like his body reacted, and like you said,
Yeah.
B, he kind of slumped over after that. Look, going back to the first fight, I knew this one would be a good fight. Like, they slugged out the first one. I agree with you, Zay. I had Charlo slightly in that first one, but to his fault, he left it open to be close. He hung on the ropes too much, you know, and he left himself open, and he didn't do quite enough to make it. Like, anytime, listen, when you the favorite, right, and you let the person who is the underdog, you know, get off a few shots, the crowd is now involved. Even if he's not hitting you, right, the crowd is, everything he's doing is swinging or whatever, is looking oohs and ahs or whatever, and that sways the judges. I don't care what anybody says, but he did enough to sway the judges, and Charlo didn't. And then going back to this fight, I was glad to see and hear that he came back and with a better game plan. He stood there. He slugged it out like it was going to be a slug out, and we already knew that was going to be, because that's how they got down in the first fight. So I'm glad that it. You know, I'm happy for Twin. You know, I'm happy that he came with a better game plan. I'm happy that he put him away so that there's no more question on, you know, what this guy can do. We've talked about him before. You know, his name has come up, you know, with the Canelos and if he's ready. And, you know, I've always said, I think he has the talent, right? He has the talent to fight these guys. But he has moments like he did in the first fight, where he lays back too much, he's not aggressive enough, and he makes a mistake and he gets caught. And you can't do that against Canelo. So,
Right.
but he showed that, you know what, you know, let me put my name in that hat. You know, I still think he should inch into that fight if that's what's going to happen, or if it's a chance of it happening. But I'm glad of the outcome, and I'm glad his game plan worked out. Now he can move on from this, and then hopefully stay on that track and be the talented fighter that he can be.
Yeah. Shout out to Raven Ron. Thanks for hanging out with us, man.
Thanks,
and
Raven.
we'll see you on Wednesday. Deshaun says, the more I watch the fight, the more I can't help but think that Errol was right about that guy who fought Boots. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. Yes. Yeah, we'll get to him in a second. More to add to it?
You know, I just thought it was a great performance from Charlo. You know, Castaño's a very good fighter. He's a strong fighter. He took a lot of really clean shots, and it didn't really phase him. You know, I mentioned that you could see Castaño kind of fatiguing. That was not the case at all with Charlo. He looked very fresh at the end of the fight.
Very fresh, yes.
So I mean, it was a fantastic performance from him. Moving forward, you know, I know that Fundora is out there. I hear that there's talk about maybe a Jaime Munguia. If I'm Charlo, I would take a breather after this fight. You know, you fought Castaño twice in a row. Those are two really tough fights. Go and take a Dillian White type fight like Tyson Fury just took. Right, go and find a guy that you can beat, that you know you can look good against. You know, have a big event and just kind of, you know, celebrate yourself a little bit, right, before you kind of jump right back into the fire.
Yeah. Why not? Jaime Munguia, man. If he beats Munguia, he moving up. He moving up my list, pound for pound for sure. You know, I know people are throwing him on a list now after this fight. Understandably so. Great fight against a good fighter, and he showed a lot there, so I don't have any problem with it. Jaime Munguia is really good, man. If he beats Munguia, I gotta really assess this. You know, Fundora. If you guys don't know who Fundora is, man, he's a guy that I've told B a couple times, and Mikey. I think this guy, there's a little and I don't want to say cheating, but it's a little shadiness going on with this man. This man is 6'8", right? I might be exaggerating a little bit. He might be 6'6", 6'7". He's tall. And this is a 154-pound division. So I mean, you know how hard you gotta try to be that light, right? And you know, when we first saw him, yeah, he's skin and bones, right? But you know, somebody with that kind of frame, he's tall, he's got long arms, right? He's a long person.
He's 6'5.5".
6'5". See, look, I wasn't that far off. He has a clear reach advantage, height and reach advantage over his opponents. But somebody like that, yeah, he might be able to weigh in at 154. He damn sure ain't showing up to the fight at 154, right?
And Erickson Lubin's face found that out,
right,
very recently,
right. And I think he's somebody that can show up close to 170 pounds and you won't even notice.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you can hide 15 pounds in that frame, no problem. And I think he's doing that. So if Charlo wants to fight him, there's got to be something in stipulations. And look, I could be wrong. Maybe there's something in the rule book now that you can't show up past a certain weight. I don't know. I don't think that's the case. I know fighters do that all the time. When they rehydrate, they add weight.
Yeah.
Is there a limit to how much they can? I don't know. But somebody like Fundora, you know, I can see them trying to get away with it because, again, how would you know? But I would put a stipulation in there saying, look, you have to show up. You can't show up past, 160 or something like that. And no, Mr. J says 6'5", 164. No, 154.
Right.
but that does not negate his. Yeah, it doesn't negate his next question. Is he a greyhound?
154. Like, it's just no. You know what I'm saying? Like, no. I don't believe he's fighting at that weight. He needs to be heavier.
He's not fighting. I'm sure he's bulking. He probably can, like you say, he could put easily another 20 on that frame, and you would barely be able to tell because he's that slight a frame. But right now, Castaño is the one that's saying that he fight him. He wants to fight him next.
Castaño wants to fight him.
Yeah, he said that he'd fight Fundora next if that's what he wants.
Fundora, yeah, he has an awkward style of fighting. I don't think he's on the same level of those guys. But again, like that, I think that's a secret weapon. The secret weapon is I can pack on some weight before the fight, and I got such a long reach. You know, I can keep people off of me. You know, and because I'm naturally heavier, right? I can absorb punches, and when I hit you, I hit a lot harder than you realize. You know, I think that's exactly what happened with Erickson Lubin. I think that's exactly what happened.
He beat my man up, man. I was hurt by that, man.
That was ugly.
Yeah. Going to Deshaun's comment. And what's up, Ferris? Shout out to you, man. He says, yo, I didn't miss the stream. Woo! Deshaun had a comment about Boots Ennis, right? Fighting another guy. It was a good, impressive win, knocked the guy out. And afterwards, they're talking to Errol Spence about it. And Errol said, look, I think the guy he fought, he was just in there for a paycheck, right? He didn't look like much, which is true, right? I think that guy took that fight on the last notice, right?
Yeah, I mean, and he said it to Ennis in the ring. He had to do it, nobody else wanted to take the fight. That guy that we're talking about is Castillo Clayton. He was undefeated coming in. He's out of Canada. But, Errol Spence was talking about the fact that he wasn't really doing a whole lot. Now, I mean, granted, the fight ended in the second round. And
right.
I don't know anything about this guy. A lot of fighters start pretty slow. So maybe he was trying to ramp up. But what happened was, Ennis threw a couple of jabs, to set up a right hand. Clayton ducked, and the right hand landed on the back of his head. And he went down and he was rolling around. You could tell he didn't have his equilibrium. He got up and he was just kind of stumbling around the ring, so they stopped the fight. Ennis looked good, for what it was, but it's past time for him to actually step up in the level of competition.
Yeah, but the next step should not be it shouldn't be Errol Spence, right?
No.
that's that's a giant step you're trying to take. That's how you fall down the stairs, right? Like there are a lot of fighters in between him and Spence that he could take. And I get it, part of it is building the buzz now. I don't think he seriously thinks he's gonna get a fight right now. I
No.
think it's one of those things where you create the buzz.
Yeah, he's
right?
announcing himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but he's got a lot of fighters that on the list that he could fight next. So.
Yeah, Boots. Look, I'm with you, B, and I kind of got caught up in the. It's not hype, right? He's a good fighter, right? But I kind of got caught up in that, like Boots is next type thing. But Boots got 29 fights or something like that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Now it's time for a step up and fight. Now he is not ready for Errol Spence. He is not ready for Bud Crawford. He is not. But I agree with you, Zay. Yeah, you get it. You calling them out. You selling the fight. You selling the possibility of it. Cool. But he needs a name on his record. Now, to his defense, there's not a lot of people that's lining up to fight this guy, right? Because he is supremely talented. But they got to find a way to make it work and get this guy a fight so that he can earn it. Me and Jose were talking about this earlier. Like, you got to earn those things now. You got to earn a fight with Spence. You got to earn a fight with Bud Crawford, man. And, like, your resume right now is not saying that. I love him as a fighter. I think that he is it's talented, and he will be one of the best fighters in the game in that weight class. I do think he will. But Danny Garcia,
Virgil Ortiz,
Ugas, Keith Thurman. Yeah, I mean, I was telling Jose too earlier that I read something where he said that he thinks Thurman will be next for him. We'll see. And Jose made a great point about that, where I don't even know if Thurman is the right guy right now.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
He may be, he may not be, but it's time to see if he's ready for that. Like, it's boxing promoters. They protect their fighters when they think they have a potential superstar, but not for 29 fights.
Right.
It's been too long, and he's already ranked at the top in that division. So if he wanted to say, hey, I'm going to demand a fight with the winner of Spence and Crawford, he could realistically do it. He might end up being a mandatory there. So, I mean, he has to take those fights. This isn't a mild step up to a journeyman time.
I think, and I see your comment here, Ferris. He says, I think it was a little early stoppage. It wasn't early. The guy got hit. I mean, his equilibrium was off. He wasn't.
He was standing there, and the ref told him to go stand in the corner, and then he tripped into the ropes.
Yeah. He couldn't get his legs under him. But I think a fight against somebody like Ugas, right, is a good challenge. If he's that guy, he will push him. And Ugas is ranked high enough to where like the fight makes sense right now, right? I don't know. I just think Keith Thurman is one of those fights when you haven't really fought anybody, and then you go to fight somebody like Keith Thurman. Of course, Keith Thurman would jump at that because he knows you don't have the experience to take on somebody like him. He'll take advantage of that. Ugas is more of a I mean, he's a good fighter, but he's more of a defensive fighter. He doesn't pull out a bunch of other tricks, in the ring. I think that's a little bit easier of a fight. I won't call it easier fight. He's not an easy out, but I think that's a better matchup for Boots. But Keith Thurman, even Santa Cruz, I think wouldn't be a bad move for Enos, right? But Keith Thurman, Errol Spence, Bud Crawford, none of those guys should be the next fight. The other guys that you can fight at your level right now, that will generate some buzz. Maybe the next fight you fight Keith Thurman, right?
I would want to see him fight Virgil Ortiz because Ortiz needs to step up also. Yes. And then the winner of that go and fight a guy like Keith Thurman, and then the winner of that gets the title shot.
Yeah. It's time though. I did not realize he had 29 fights. I did not. Right. I did not because the way they talk about him and the way they have talked about him for the last year or two, it's been, oh man, this new up and coming prospect, and it's like, bro, like you have 29 fight, like you're not a new, you're not a new up and coming pro. I mean, like I said, I don't want to diminish, like, this kid is talented. He is very, very talented. He is. But be you 100% correct. It is that time. It's that time to move up. It is that time to cement your name with a defeat of a somebody. Like I said, I mean, I feel like Danny Garcia is a big enough name, right? That you go in there. I think he's a game enough fighter. He'll give you a good bump. You go in there, you get a good win out of that. I think that would be a solid fight for him. If we're going to step above that, Ugas is, like you said, Ortiz. But I feel like they're protecting these guys. I feel like they're protecting Ortiz as well.
Yeah. But Ortiz is only at, I think, 18 fights.
Yeah.
So, but I would still like to see him. And that's why I think I would like to see him fight Ennis, because I think it's that time for him too. And you're not talking about the best in the world at Ennis.
Yeah.
You're talking about another guy who's trying to prove himself against top level competition.
Yeah.
Now, look, 29 fights is a lot, right? And it's funny how, somebody like Ennis, who has 29 fights and he's up and coming, somebody like Lomachenko, who had 10 fights at the time, like, he's already a legend, right? It's funny how they can be promoted. But 29 fights, yeah, it could be a lot, but he could still. It all depends on the fighter. Like, you're ready when you're ready, right?
Mhm.
I mean, another fight that was that came up this weekend was the guy Zurdo, right?
Mhm.
Light heavyweight. He's 44-0 now. I don't think he's gotten a shot at the title yet. Right.
He's also Mexican though, and the scale is different when you're
Right,
talking about the records for Mexican fighters.
But 44 fights, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, he hasn't even gotten a title shot yet. So I mean, my thing is you're ready when you're ready. I just don't want to see somebody like Boots catapulted up too high too fast, right? Let him get a good test against one of these other guys that are solid game fighters, and then we'll know more about it,
Mhm.
Yeah.
And plus, like somebody like Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman needs to be fight. He needs to be next, for in line for Errol Spence or Bud Crawford. He needs one of those fights, because I mean, that's what's missing on his resume, right? He's already been a champion. He's had a pretty good career. His career is coming to an end soon. This is the time. If you want to cement yourself, up there with those guys, you got to take on those fights.
Yeah. I mean, ideally, right? You would think it would go Thurman, Ugas next, right? Winner of that, getting a shot at the title. I don't know what Boots fits in on that. If they would even, leapfrog that to go to a Thurman fight. I mean, I don't know, but there's some guys out there that he can fight, man. There's some good solid fights out there for him. And I mean, Conor Benn, we talked about Conor Benn the other day. Like,
Mhm.
that's two young guys that's ready to, both of them. And let me say this, I do not think that is Boots that doesn't want to fight these guys. I do think he wants a shot at all of these guys.
Sure.
But Conor Benn is there. I called him the Russian the other night, and B corrected me.
Lithuanian, right?
Yeah. What is it, Stanonius or something?
I don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah, like that dude, like he's calling out. That guy has quietly been saying, "I want Spence." I want Crawford. So, maybe that's a good fight for Boots. We'll see, man. But you know what? It's a good thing to see, because you got some up and coming fighters in this division that is gonna keep it going. Clearly, it's a chance. We already know it's looking like Spence is gonna move up to 154 after he fights Crawford. Crawford has flirted with the idea of that too. Even though I think Crawford will stay. I think he'll stay at 147. But man, we'll see, man. We'll see. But the good thing is there's some talent there, and we'll see what's coming next with that.
Yeah. Man. I'm happy for Jermell. The Charlo brothers, like they look. There's been a lot of talk about Canelo, and after him losing the B-ball, was he ducking? Jermall is the one that they keep talking about, not Jermell. Jermell Charlo is the one that they're talking about. But the Charlo brothers had questions of their own. It's just like, well, you're bringing up Canelo's resume, but you can name some fighters that he's fought. Jamal, the Charlo brothers, both of them. It's just like, outside Austin Trout, like who would you really beat? You know what I'm saying? And Jermell had taken a L previously. He avenged that loss.
Controversial L. But
yeah. But he got it back, and that's fine. And Jamal, like I said, like who was really on your resume? But for Jermell, at least, he showed a lot there. He showed a lot there, and I'm sure, and I think Jamal has that same fight in him. You know what I'm saying? I think they're both that good, but it is time for both of them to start, showing more, taking on those bigger fights. And I think you're gonna see it with Jermell. Jermell had made a comment too about look, he was amped up at the fight, so he was letting people know, eat your words. But the first fight he had a problem with the scoring because he's just like, look, a lot of those fights, a lot of those punches, I was slipping them, and y'all don't see it, and this is and that. But yeah, man. But the thing is, he was more active, right? And the difference between the last fight and this fight was, he's still slipping punches because if you look at Charlo's face, it was pretty clean for the blows being exchanged. So yeah, I mean, to this point, he did slip a lot more punches than we realized. But the difference is, you responded every time, right? Like you didn't let any punch, slipped or not, go unanswered. The first time you did, right, which is why it was harder to score. This time you responded, and then you just outboxed them, and then you put them away. You finished them off. It was a great performance, and that's what you got to show every time, especially as competition goes up. Yeah. So, but look, man, all the props to him, man. I'm glad he's doing it. And hold on a second.
Poor Mike Coppinger. He gave him the blues in the post.
Is that who you was talking about?
Yes. He was like, am I on your pound for pound list now? He was going over. Was going over.
It was funny. He went off on me, but he's like, ask your question, but and he answered it. Like he gave him a good, professional answer.
And his trainer was like, "Nah, man, he's cool." He's like, "Nah, man, you love him. I don't love him." But yeah, man, I think you got to put him on the pound for pound list, right? He got to find a way. Listen, you guys, now we have a text thread, and after the Canelo fight, some of the lists started to come out, and as you guys can see, my frustration with it. There's a couple names on that list that I am sick of seeing. And everybody has a different list, right? But you got the core names that's still on there. I mean, somehow, you got guys on there that has two L's.
Lomachenko, just go ahead and say it.
Like, he doesn't move. Yeah, he doesn't move from that spot, and it's like, bro, like I don't get that.
At the end of the day, right? Because some fighters are judged harsher than others, and that's why people like the Charlo brothers get upset about these lists, because Lomachenko got all this hype. He's got a total of what? I don't even think he has 20 fights yet. Does he have 20 fights?
No.
He less than 20 fights. He's taken 2 L's.
But he has like 8,000 amateur fights.
Right. But his first real challenge was against Teofimo. Had he beaten Teofimo, yeah, I can understand it. But you lost.
That wasn't his first real challenge. I mean, he has a couple of decent wins, but it's just
he beat Gary Russell.
He beat Gary Russell
for you to be on that list with a permanent spot. Not enough to be written.
I'm not saying right. But no, Teofimo was his first challenge in terms of being put. Like, he's the fight that could put you on the pound for pound list. Not Gary Russell, not Rigondeaux. You know what I'm saying? That was close to retirement. And moved up in weight to fight you. Like, no, Teofimo was that person that you could have beaten, and then that could have solidified your spot on pound for pound. And he took it to you, right? And you haven't really done much since that. I mean, you fought Nakatani. That was a good knockout. Nakatani's a solid guy, but that's not somebody to put you on the pound for pound list.
Yeah, it was an impressive win, but he's Nakatani. He's not a top guy. And then you fought Richard Comey.
Yeah.
That doesn't do anything.
That doesn't do anything.
And to be fair, look, they're trying to sort out the lightweight division, right? Like it's a log jam right there right now. And he was supposed to fight Kambosos, and then
the war in Ukraine. I understand. And look, and that's unfortunate what's going on over there, and it's very commendable that he said, "Look, I gotta go back home and defend my country." Very commendable, man. Salute to you. But the fact is, right? The fact is, we don't hold your place on the pound for pound list, and I'm sure that's what it is for a lot of these writers. It's hey, we love this guy, we love what he's doing, so just to kind of honor him a little bit, we're gonna keep on the pound for pound list. I get that. You're not on the pound for pound list right now, dude.
Listen, I would not have had him on the pound for pound list before.
Me neither.
I've always thought he was very overrated, but particularly after the Teofimo loss, he would have been off the list. But if you have him on the list and you say, you know what, I'm gonna wait till he comes home from war, I'm not gonna argue with you.
Yeah. No,
shout out to D Weezy, man. Thanks for coming through.
What up, D Weezy? I mean, I'm with
how
you.
Did you get in here? Backyard Media is not subscribed. You're not a patron.
Listen, like you said, it's very commendable, right? I had a problem with him being on the list before he went home to defend his country. So listen, shout out to him for that, right? But bro, I've had a problem with him being on this list way before this take, and good fighter, right?
Yeah,
very talented, but the last talented guy he fought, he got whooped.
Yes.
Right? He got beat bad.
That's the other thing people don't really talk about. That was not a close fight.
Yeah, he got beat.
Right.
He got beat. So you know what I mean? Like he's staying at, especially on ESPN, right? ESPN keeps him around that 7 spot. He doesn't move. They're bouncing people around him. Another name, Juan Estrada. Like he hasn't fought in over a year. Bye. Right. You're not fighting. So there's other people behind you that should be on this list. Bye. You're off the list too. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I don't know, man. I try not to let these lists get me amped up. I know who ESPN is tied to.
So you're looking at ESPN's list. Is that what you're looking at right
now? I'm looking at ESPN right now. But I didn't really see a list that I was happy with throughout after the Bivol fight.
I think a problem with the pound for pound list is most of them are too long. Like if you're listing 10 fighters, you're going to get to guys who you look at and you're like, you shouldn't be on the pound for pound list. Well, right. But if you make it 10 fighters long, then he's going to be on there, right?
All right. So let's let me make sure this is the same one that you're looking at. This is from April 27th. Is this the right one?
No.
You have one.
This one is May 11th.
May 11th. Okay. All right. Well, okay. What do you have on? What do you have there?
Crawford's 1. Inoue is 2. Spence 3. Canelo 4. Fury 5. Usyk 6. Lomo 7.
And as I want to say it was our guy Roxon. I think it was him who pointed out Tyson Fury shouldn't be on the list because the whole point of a pound for pound list is if everything was equal, heavyweights don't go on that list. But
unless you have somebody that's very skilled, like Usyk being on the list doesn't bother me.
Yeah, but he is only very recently a heavyweight. You can kind of look at it as almost of an experiment. He spent the vast majority of his career below, so I understand why he was already there. He was there before he moved up to heavyweight.
Yeah. And shout out to Usyk, man. I slept on him. I ain't gonna lie. I slept on Usyk. He's a real deal. And Tyson Fury is retired now, right? He said he retired. You gotta take him off the list. He's not active anymore, right?
Yeah, he ain't retired.
Yeah, I don't think he's retired either. But you say you're retired, then you're off, right? Yeah. Estrada ain't fighting a year, off. Why is Shakur Stevenson 9? And you know how I feel about Dimitri Bivol, man. Like, look, you beat the man, you gotta be above the man, right? Like, you out. Look, it wasn't a situation where he was just a bigger man in there, and he was just too big for Canelo. He outboxed Canelo. You outboxed the man. Like, you're above him. sorry, you know, do a rematch and you know, change our minds. But it is what it is. In a way, okay, yeah, you know, I got no problem. Crawford in a way. Spence should be number one if we're being honest. If we're going off of this list, like Crawford, again, who is he beating for him to be number
I
one?
mean, look, I understand him being there now. He just had the win over Porter.
Yeah,
that's pretty recent. But you know, it's that and what.
but that's
for
the
a
thing.
while, you know?
Yeah, that's the thing.
And you know what? And this is going to be unpopular. I don't have a problem with Bivol being on the list, right? But I don't think he should be that. I don't think he should be 8. Like I think B, last time we talked about it, you kind of mentioned like maybe it should be like the college, right? How they do how they used to do college rankings, right? Where team loses, you kind of drop down a few, you know what I mean? Like he should be on the list, but I feel like there's, you know, and he beat the man, like you said, Jose. But that's his only win that is like, okay. Now, and it's not just a regular win, right? I don't want to sound like that. He did beat the man. But I feel like pound for pound list should be a body of work, right?
Okay.
I feel like, listen, and to your point earlier, like some of these fighters are judged differently. Charlo, Stevenson, you know, what he did to Herring, yeah, like another champion, former champion. He murdered him. And then when he did the Valdez, like it took them that body of work for them to say, okay, now you be on the list, but you know, you're at 9. Right. Even after that body of work, right?
I mean, where's Tank? Tank's not even on this list.
And Tank was on the one that you said, the one from April 20th. He was on there. Now Tank is off the list.
I think he'll be back on after we hold the services for Romero in early June. I think he'll be back on the list. But no, I kind of agree with Mike. I don't think that Bivol should be above Canelo. It's one of those things for me where it's like he's saying, it's a body of work, right? And you know, the thing that immediately popped into my head was, and this is a long time ago now, but Vernon Forrest beating Shane Mosley. He beat him a couple times. But I still don't think he was a better fighter than Shane Mosley, right? Like he had Shane's number, but I don't think that he was a better fighter. Now, if they do have the rematch, I think, you know, this is kind of one of those things where he's got a probationary spot on the list. Bivol. Yeah. If they have that rematch and he wins again, then you're above Canelo. Yeah. If they have a rematch again or have the rematch and he loses, then you're off the list.
You know, he has to be on the list because, you know, when Canelo took this package deal, Bivol and then Triple G, you know, you have people saying, hey, look, that's a good package. Like, don't sleep on Bivol. Don't sleep on Bivol. But we found out why. And, you know, he deserves credit for that. Yeah. You know, and absolutely. Yeah. Kind of like a probationary thing. Like, we still got to add more to it for sure. Hey, man, fight Zurdo, you know, fight Usyk. Usyk wants to come back down and do, or fight Beterbiev, right? Is Beterbiev in that weight division, or is he cruiserweight?
He is right now. I believe he's in cruiserweight. Let me look.
Yeah. Okay. You know, but you know, there's some fights there. There's some other fights, you know, for him to possibly take to add to his resume. But damn good start.
Yeah, I mean, it's a real good start.
Yeah, no, he is light heavyweight.
Okay,
it's a really, really good start. You know, I'm not saying he shouldn't be on the list, right? If he wouldn't have made it, would I have been upset? No, but
right.
I just feel like, you know, some of these other fighters, you know, I feel like it was one of those things that, you know, it was the hot moment. Okay, yo, he beat Canelo. Okay, we got to throw him. We got to find a spot on this list. And you would probably shut me up in this case if you dropped the 2 names that we said before off of this list, right? But there's some spots being held that I feel like other people should be on there. Tank should be there.
Well, yeah, I was about to say they dropped Tank off the list coming off of one of his best performances.
Yes. Yeah. Like, I mean, you know, it's.
I see what's happening here. I see what's happening. We need a Ring Kings.
There you go.
Top 10 pound. Do we want to do 10? We're gonna do a pound for pound list. We're not sure if it's 10, but we're gonna do a pound for pound list. Ring Kings pound for pound list. Be on the lookout for that, guys. That's coming.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
That's coming. We're doing it. We're doing it. We'll discuss it offline and we'll put it out. Maybe we'll do a show.
Maybe we'll do like our top 25 and have some guests submit their pound for pound and kind of reveal them on the show again. That was a lot of fun. Maybe we'll do something like that again.
Okay. We'll discuss it. We'll discuss it offline. We'll see. We'll see. That 25 all time list was pretty fun. That was pretty fun. Okay. All right. Is there anything else we need to discuss? We're already going over an hour here.
Hold on. I mean, you're gonna edit this out, right? So that's fine.
No, I wasn't. I was just gonna take this part and just put it up.
Well, you have to now because I said edit. I mean, if you're not going to, then we can just move on. Because I was just gonna upload the picture of the cards.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we can filibuster until then, until B is ready. So speaking of Tank, is it next week or the week after the Tank fights rolling?
Week after, yeah.
Week from Saturday,
yeah.
Okay. So is there any fights this Saturday coming up?
I think this is David Lemieux and I mean, it's boxing, right? Is it who we are like?
There's always fights. They're not like huge fights.
Yeah.
Let's see. We got Janibek. I can never say this guy's name. Janibek Alimkhanuly versus David Dignam. Jermell Herring versus Jermaine Ortiz.
Okay.
And David Benavidez versus David Lemieux.
Yeah.
So I mean that's a pretty big fight.
Yeah.
That one's going to be on Showtime. Looks like not pay-per-view, just on Showtime. And then DAZN has the light heavyweight kind of title eliminator with Joshua Buatsi and Craig Richards.
Okay. All right. So that'll be this weekend. Then the weekend after that will be Tank and Rolly.
Tevin Farmer's fighting this weekend coming.
Who's he fighting?
Mickey Bay.
Okay. All right. Shout out to Tevin Farmer, man. Okay, so yeah, we got some fights coming up. All right, are you ready? You need me to filibuster some more?
Well, no, I started looking at the schedule, so I am in fact not ready. Almost.
No, it's fine because I could talk more about this list, man. The list I was looking at before had Josh Smith on it, and I was just like, what are you guys looking at? Like, what do you, like, I mean, look, it's. I mean, look, I think some of these names are just there just so people can talk about it, right? Like,
yeah.
Like ESPN does a lot of things for clickbait, so they know some of these guys don't belong on there, but they know they want you to talk about it. But look. We're gonna be here to save you guys from that, to save you from the clickbait stuff and give you the real pound for pound list. Okay.
All right. So there's gonna be better pictures once I figure out how to work this light box. But here's the first look at the custom poker deck from Ring Kings that you can get by joining our Patreon at the $10 tier, or you can join at the $20 tier and get these and our LBHT crew coin.
Now, I'm also need to add for our audio listeners, right? Because we are on everywhere that you listen to a podcast, Spotify, Apple, whatever, Stitcher, all that stuff. Okay. For your listeners, you're not gonna be able to see what we're having on the screen right now, but we'll give you a brief description of what we're showing. Okay. Go ahead, B. Oh, there is Muhammad Ali. These are our Ring Kings podcast playing cards, poker cards, right? So the ace of spades is Muhammad Ali. So for our listeners, we have a card deck, right? And it's listing our top 25 greatest fighters of all time, as told by the Ring Kings crew. Okay. So ace of spades, Muhammad Ali. That's a nice little yes. That's looking good. That's looking good right there. And Hendo agrees. He says fire emojis. Indeed. Yes. All right. So okay. What do you what's the chat saying? D Weezy says Rocky top 10 pound for pound. Yeah. I think Henderson wants to do a top 15. No, 15 pound for pound. No.
I think Mike Coppinger's list made me even more upset.
That's why Charlo called him out.
So he has Crawford 1, Fury 2, Spence 3, Bivol 4. Now he has him above Canelo, like you said, Zay. Canelo 5, Inoue 6, Usyk 7, Lomo 8, Chocolatito 9, and Stevenson 10.
Okay. It's a list.
So he doesn't even have Estrada on there.
Nah, but he put Chocolatito on here. Like
I just look, I'm gonna catch flack from this from the Fury mob, right? But how do you watch him and say he's one of the most skilled fighters in the game? He's not. He's not. He is adequate enough for that heavyweight division. Look, I'm just gonna tell y'all, man, he better not step in the ring with Usyk. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, how many points does he get for his post-fight concerts? You got to add that in too.
Yeah.
How much does he get for the ring entrances?
I'm about to say the ring entrance. I'm gonna drop a little. I'm gonna drop a couple coins on it, a couple points. Okay, I dropped a couple points for that ring entrance. That was excellent. Okay, he's entertaining.
He is an entertainer and an adequate fighter.
Yeah, he's adequate, man. I'm sorry. Don't step in the ring with Usyk. I don't think he ever takes that fight. I think he knows better. He's smart too. But no, man, I don't think he
wants that Joshua fight. He wants that. He wants Joshua to beat Usyk, and then he wants that fight for $70 million or whatever they gonna make off of that. That's what he wants.
Yeah,
for a refrigerator. He's he looks like a troll. I mean, I don't know if you're gonna put the intro on here, but like in our intro, we have I say, like if you look at him, you just look at the outline of Tyson Fury, he looks like a troll.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna leave it there, guys. We're gonna leave it there. We're gonna be back. We're gonna put this one out this week. Okay. This is the Patreon stream, but if you're listening to it on Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen to podcasts, all right, this is gonna be our episode for this week. We'll be back.
To leave a 5-star review.
Yes, please leave a 5-star review. Thank you to everybody that has. We had a little pause in our episodes that we put out. We weren't quite sure what direction we wanted to go with that, but we're back now. Okay.
If you have the urge to leave less than a 5-star review, just go do something else.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, just what's the point of 4 stars? Like, who does that?
Go play outside or something.
Right.
If you're about to leave 4 stars, man, just stop, think, get a drink of water, do some yoga, and think about how you can add that extra 5th star.
Do like your parents or your grandparents say. Take out a piece of paper, draw your 4 stars, and put it in a desk drawer. You don't need to say that.
But yeah, thanks for everybody for listening, man, and watching. And I'll put this overlay back on. All right, that's our new overlay right there. Okay, in the corner right there, $LBHT show. All right, that's our Cash App. That's the way you can support. Usually we have a link in the chat for our stream elements link, but that'll be for our next live stream. But $LBHT show and patreon.com/LBHT show. Those are the 2 ways that you can support this show and a lunch break hot take show. If you like what you're watching, if you like what you're listening to, man, consider supporting the show. And yeah, all right, fellas, we got anything else before we get up out of here?
Nah, man.
That's about it. Be on the lookout for the Ring Kings pound for pound list.
Oh, the pound for pound list. All right, we are going to do the outro for this. All right, take us out with the Ring Kings, B. We'll see y'all next time. Are you ready? Are you ready? B is ready. Y'all have a good one. Peace out.